Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz, your host here at Crimes Untold, and we are continuing on our Crimes on Pride month. Now, if you're new here, I talk about true crime here on this channel, true crime stories, crimes against people, and today is no exception. Today we're going to be talking about the suicide of Nigel Shelby. Nigel Shelby was 15 years old when he decided to take his life after relentless bullying and harassment following him coming out as gay. This would happen in Huntsville, Alabama. Nigel Shelby, everything I've read about him, he seemed like the happiest boy. But everything on the outside doesn't reflect what's on the inside. Now, following him being bullied, or the start of him being bullied, he was severely depressed, as anybody would be. If you experience bullying due to your orientation, it negatively affects you. And if you've never been in a mindset of a bullied person, you won't understand. If you have, my thoughts are with you. I know how you feel. I know partly how Nigel felt due to my own bullying that I went through. So Nigel committed suicide back in 2019, and like I mentioned, he was only 15 at the time. He was repeatedly bullied at school, and he reported being bullied at school, and it was talked about on social media, and he was told by his principal at the time that being gay was a choice, and he wasn't offered any type of help when it came to his protection from bullying. No one tried to help him. No one tried to take those that were bullying him and have them take responsibility for their actions. None of that happened. And this hurt him. As you would think that a person that works in the school district would do anything to help a child that is being bullied in the school, within the school, on school grounds. You're there. You're sworn to protect these children, and this person didn't help them. And for it to be reported and the principal to not do anything, that is what irritates me. So his family members, there was a suit that happened. I'll kind of get into that. It was a wrongful death suit, which was be filed almost 2 years after his death in 2021. And attorneys for the family said that basically the school staff did nothing to prevent any of the bullying that happened against him. Now, Nigel was African American and he was gay. So the basis of the lawsuit shows that there was nothing that prevented him from being bullied for being African American, for being gay, for being different, and that basically the school ignored harassment based on all of his orientation. They did nothing to prohibit this, and that nobody took responsibility for their actions. Nobody helped this family following his death. Nobody helped him prior to his death. And this lawsuit, the more I read it, the more irritated I get. There were students that knew of the bullying and they were concerned about his well-being. None of these students that are mentioned in the lawsuit have been identified because they don't want to be identified. They don't want to talk about it. There is one student in particular that said that she just didn't care about how he felt and that he was going through one of his episodes. I'm sorry, if you're being bullied, it's not an episode. If you're being bullied, you're extremely hurt. And sometimes when Nigel went to report what was happening to the principal's office, there were students that would go with him as he reported the physical and verbal bullying that he was enduring, and still nothing happened. And instead of reaching out to his parents, the principal said that if he if he was going to make an adult decision about his orientation, then he needed to be prepared to face the consequences. That is the worst thing I have ever read that a principal has said to a child, to a young man, when it comes to his orientation. You cannot say things like that to a developing person. You cannot say that to a person, especially one that you are sworn to protect. When I mentioned in a previous video that I'm going to be covering cases that literally irk me and hurt my mama heart, this is one of them. I can't stand the things that I have read when it comes to his suicide and how this person didn't take it seriously. Because there's also a sheriff that's involved in this case that makes remarks or made remarks in regards to this that was put on leave because of his hateful remarks. People like that don't deserve a platform to stand and spread their hateful words when it comes to cases like this. People like this, like that principal, should not be in a public standing where they make rulings over people. Because of this case, that person could have prevented his suicide and didn't. There was another time when Nigel went to this same person and she told him that he basically only had as much time as an hourglass. If you don't know what an hourglass is, it's basically a sand timer. When you turn it over, the sand dwindles down, and that's how much time he had left. And she also had an hourglass on her desk, and when she turned it, basically what she did is that he only had this much time to talk to her about what had happened, and he was desperate for help, and she did nothing. She also told him that him and other students danced to black people music to feel better. I'm sorry. No. This humiliated Nigel. All of this humiliated him. A few hours after he committed suicide on April 18th, 2019, his mom was contacted by this principal and told his mom to look for a suicide note in his backpack. The fact that this person expected to find a suicide note in his backpack makes it so that she was well aware that he was a suicide risk and did nothing about it. People at school knew that this was going to happen. They knew he was going to commit suicide, and nobody prevented it. Nobody. I don't understand why. When it comes to trying to help people, why we refuse. I don't understand, and I'm saying this generalized. So if anybody puts a comment down below about how I'm speaking, you can take it and shove it right where the sun doesn't shine, because you don't know what it feels like to be in a helpless situation. Or if you have been in a helpless situation, calm yourself, Chachi, because I've been there too. This young man needed help and nobody wanted to help him. Nobody whatsoever. Nobody wanted to help him. His mom lost her son. She forever lost her son. His memory is still here, but he is no longer tangibly here due to nobody helping him. She didn't know the extent of the bullying that he was going through. She knew he was being bullied to a certain extent, but not to the full extent that was happening. She wished that she could see what was happening at school, and everybody always told her, everything's fine, nothing's happening, everything's okay. And the day she lost her son was the worst day of her life. The fact that all of this physical and verbal abuse was happening towards him, and she had no idea because the school refused to report it to her, and that it was continued to allowed to happen on campus when those who work at a school are there to help a child, are there to protect a child. It hurts. So his mother filed a wrongful death suit against the school district when it comes to his death. The fact that They have it on record that he told the administrators of the school that he was being bullied and they did nothing about it. Speaks so many words that could not be relayed. It hurts. His mom has made it her mission to fight for those that are still being bullied in this community, in the LGBTQ plus community. She is still fighting for those that, similar to her son, that are full of joy and full of light, that unfortunately take their lives because of the bullying they are enduring. Homophobic harassment, any type of harassment that takes a toll on your mental health. She has made it her wish to help anybody she can so that they don't go through what Nigel went through. So that any parent doesn't lose their child like she did. For this mother, she has forever lost her child. She has forever lost the one thing that she could really look forward to seeing grow. As a parent, you want the best for your children. As a parent, you want everything positive. You never want to see the negative for your children. And I have seen, speaking from personal experience, that not everybody's going to like the way that your child is. I've seen it firsthand when it comes to my own children, that there are kids that are not going to like your kids for how they look, for how they act, for certain things they do, what they eat. And it's really sad to see because my children are younger. They're not the same age as Nigel Shelby. And it just makes me really question not just the sense of community, but the sense of structure in schools. Nigel's mother and family, because of this wrongful death suit, they reached a settlement this year. And it was reported back on March 29th of 2023, so this year. And so the basis of the suit is that he was bullied because of his race and his sexuality at school. And basically what had happened is that the education board and the Huntsville City School District basically has to pay Nigel Shelby's family $840,000, as well as bring awareness to anti-bullying procedures. That way there's more help for those that need to be helped. That way there's more help when it comes to, it's really hard for me to speak on stuff like this because of my own personal turmoil with bullying, of going through it. It's made me really reflect on things, a dark time in my life that I wish I couldn't go back to. It's good to reflect on because it gives me more of a sense of understanding when it comes to Nigel Shelby, and seeing things in the lawsuit where it goes on to one of their lawyers, Jasmine Rand, where she repeats a lot of the things that these kids were saying to him in school. A girl that was verbally battering him, calling him racial slurs and slurs based on his sexuality and derogatory names. Stuff like this, it really irritates me because he didn't deserve any of that. None of them. Nobody that goes through a similar situation deserves any of this. No one deserves to not be heard. And to this day, the school district doesn't take account for being liable or any of their employees being liable for his death, which is sad. So with this, I hope you guys learned something. I really hope that you can take Nigel's story and really reflect on how truly fucked up and sad this world is, and how people just don't give a flying fuck when it comes to those who are being hurt, who people truly need help and nobody is there to help them. I will see you guys in another video.